More weapons, more defense systems, more fighter jets, anything that gives you a military edge. In simple words, an arms race. SIPRI has published a new report on global weapons trade. SIPRI, short for Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI. They analyze military expenditure, basically who bought what. Their new report covers 5 years, from 2017 to 2021. The biggest takeaway is this: Europe is the new hotspot for weapons. Let me show you the numbers. In 5 years, the global weapons market shrank 5%, but Europe imported 19% more weapons. What explains this rise? According to SIPRI, Russia. That's the explanation, Russia. European states are wary of Russia's military aggression. Remember, this is 2021 we are talking about. And at this point, the paranoia must be sky high. And the response was to buy more weapons, to expand their arsenal. 3 countries spent the most: Britain, Norway, and the Netherlands. Who benefited from this arms race? The United States, their defense industry. In 2017, they made up 32% of global weapon supply. In 2021, 39%. Most European states prefer to buy American weapons. Britain, Norway, and the Netherlands ordered 71 F-35 jets. Finland ordered 64, Poland 32, and today Germany ordered 35. What does the story tell you? That America is making money off this arms race. The war may have started in 2022, but the preparations began 5 years back. Where does Ukraine figure on this list? Surprisingly, very low. You see, military imports depend on your economy. How much money can you spare for weapons? And Ukraine's economy cannot spare that much. Most of their weapons come from 2 sources. Number 1, the weapons they inherited from the Soviet Union. And number 2, the military aid that they get from the West. The first one, the Soviet weapons, include the expensive toys, like fighter jets or missile systems. The second one is not as expensive. Since 2014, the US has sent military aid worth $2.5 billion to Ukraine. And that's a lot of money, $2.5 billion. Just last week, Joe Biden sanctioned another $200 million. So the weapons are flowing for sure. But what kind of weapons are they? Mostly small missiles. Around 17,000 pieces were shipped immediately after the war broke out. And these are handheld weapons, basically point and shoot. On paper, these shipments make sense. Russia has 5 times more tanks than Ukraine, 9 times more warplanes. So Ukraine cannot win a direct battle. They need a force multiplier, something to level the playing field. In this case, that multiplier is small weapons. Take a look at what NATO has shipped to Ukraine: Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, Javelin anti-tank missiles, snipers, night vision goggles, portable surveillance radars. What's common among all these weapons? They're typical insurgency arms. Just think about it. NATO has limited their assistance to small weapons. Poland offered to send jets. America said no. Ukraine asked for the Iron Dome system. Again, America said no. So we must question NATO's intention. Do they want to help Ukraine, or do they just want to hurt Russia? And in this case, these 2 things are not the same: helping Ukraine and hurting Russia. Think back to the Soviet war in Afghanistan. America flooded the country with weapons. They provided Stinger missiles to the Mujahideen. Those missiles changed the tide of the war. But what happened when the war ended? The Soviets packed up and left, and so did the US. They had no interest in toppling the Soviet-backed government. Their goal was to bleed the Soviet Union, to give Moscow their Vietnam. And that mission was accomplished. Could something similar happen in Ukraine? You cannot rule it out. Reports say the West is planning a government in exile, possibly in Poland. If Kiev falls, Zelensky and his ministers could shift there. Zelensky gives nominal leadership. The volunteers keep fighting Russia on the ground. That could be a plan. It's certainly possible. There is no exact record of the weapons flowing into Ukraine. We know shipments are arriving. We know how much they're worth, but we do not know what's inside them. How many Stinger missiles? How many snipers? Vladimir Putin also realizes this. He knows the Ukrainian people will not accept a puppet regime. There is going to be opposition. Add some Stingers, and you have a full-blown insurgency. WEON is now available in your country. Download the app now.
A fire broke out at a depot in Ukraine's capital Kyiv after Russian shelling, killing at least 1 person. Fire raged at a warehouse in western part of the capital after the Russian bombardment sparked a blaze. According to the Ukrainian Emergency Ministry, a fire broke out in an area of 10,000 square meters. Firefighters continued extinguishing the blaze from a safe distance due to the risk of projectile explosions. As the flames were increasing, the fire was feared to reach other areas. Smoke was seen rising from Kyiv's skyline. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited civilians and servicemen wounded by Russian attacks at a Kyiv hospital. The hospital is in the town of Vorzel in Kyiv, which came under fire during its evacuation. At the hospital, Zelensky spoke with injured Kyiv residents undergoing treatment. 16-year-old Katya Vlasenko was among them, who was wounded when her family car came under fire. The family was trying to escape fighting in the area northwest of the capital Kyiv. Katya was wounded when she shielded her 8-year-old brother with her body.
Нам всем не просто, мы все правильно делаем.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian army held its position in the north of the Kyiv region. Soldiers reported that they had shots from tanks.
Ми тимчасово в обороні. Ми обов'язково підемо в контрнаступ. І оце, як вам сказати, щоб я не грубив, щоб ви мене правильно зрозуміли, оце, що на нас напало, воно тут не буде. Ми будемо стояти до кінця.
At the same time, in the city of Lviv, heavy shelling was reported in an area around the airport, clouds of smoke rising from the region, while eyewitnesses reported hearing loud blasts, following which thick pall of grey smoke streamed across the city skies. Lviv mayor confirmed of an attack, but clarified that the buildings hit, but definitely not an airport. According to data, 6 cruise missiles were launched from the Black Sea. 2 missiles were destroyed by anti-aircraft missiles of the West Air Command. And our correspondent Anas Malik visited the Podilsky district in Kyiv, which has been recently shelled, and this is how the area looks like right now.
I'm standing in the Podilsky district, which was targeted by what is believed is a Russian missile this morning at around 8. And you can see the amount of destruction that has caused. This is a densely populated neighborhood. There's a crater that's there as well, but we're not allowed to go that side. And to my left, to my right, to my front, to my back, wherever I see, it's just destruction, it's debris. Mostly there were civilians over here, most of them being elderly, children and women who were here and who were here by choice. One person has been confirmed killed in this what is believed is a missile attack, and another 4 are injured, whereas 12 people were rescued and 98 had been evacuated. Now this is day 23 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the attacks seem to continue, most of them targeting civilian areas. Anas Malik in Kyiv, Ukraine, for Beyond World is One.
Anas Malik also had a conversation with Vladimir Klitschko. He is a former world heavyweight champion and brother of Kyiv's mayor, and this is what he had to say.
You are in a living district of city of Kyiv, the capital. The capital is the target of this war, of Putin's regime. They're destroying life. They bombed with the rockets. This is not just the first time and the first day. They've done it previously in also other cities that have been put into ash, killing the life, hitting kindergarten. This is living residential district. Have you heard what Lavrov, the foreign minister, said on the first day of negotiation? We're never going to attack any other country, and we never invaded Ukraine. Isolate Russia economically. They're using the money and every cent for the weapons to kill. And this is not just the words. This is fact, matter of fact. Is this a military base here? Is this an infrastructure? This is living district. Kindergarten has been destroyed.